All right, so want to welcome you guys all. It feels like it's been such a long time, but welcome to Mindful Resilience Yoga. So this is the first of 3 classes for our series this fall. And for those of you who don't know me, I am Katie Butler, and I work with the Gaylord Sports Association as a program specialist, as well as a certified therapeutic rec specialist with our inpatients at Gaylord. And we want to welcome back our instructor, Rebecca Smith. Rebecca has taught yoga for over 10 years, including private lessons, ongoing public classes, and teacher trainings. And she's an ambassador for Veterans Yoga Project, which teaches the techniques of mindful resilience to any and everyone open to learning. She's been teaching yoga here with us at Gaylord since 2021. And just a few things before we start, a few reminders. We ask everyone to leave your video on so the instructor can see and give any feedback or help with questions. This class is a combination of in-person and virtual attendees. You guys can't see it, but there are 3 other people upstairs in our recreation hall in front of Rebecca. We also ask that you mute yourself to limit background noise, but if you have questions or need assistance, you can briefly unmute or use the chat feature, which I will be monitoring. So one thing you do need for this class, please have a sturdy chair to sit down on with no armrests. And just a few safety reminders. Remember to have water nearby, hydrate before, during, and after the exercises, and listen to your body and know your limits. If you're experiencing any pain, nausea, dizziness, or other symptoms, please stop, take a break, and evaluate if you need to stop exercising altogether. And then proper form is the most important to avoid injury and get the most out of these exercises. So if you have any questions about the form, please feel free to ask. Now just give me 1 second. I am going to turn the spotlight over to Rebecca. Everybody, I hope, sees Rebecca big. And Rebecca, if you can unmute yourself.
Done.
You are all set to go.
Okay, is my sound good in my headphones?
You sound good.
Great. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome back for my repeats. Folks, I'm so glad to see everybody. And I do want to thank Move United and Gaylord for sponsoring this for us. So if you're new to chair yoga with me, this is a more mild practice. Chair yoga can be anything from total meditation and guided rest the whole time to a really vigorous class. This is somewhere in the bottom third, if you will. Yeah, so we will do some movement, but this is not at all meant to be an intense class. This is meant to help chronic pain, or at least reduce some of those symptoms that come up from that, and to help us with coping skills in our daily living. So the practices of mindful resilience are really centered around 5 aspects of yoga, which includes our mindful breathing, meditation, the asana, the postures themselves, guided rest, and gratitude. So we'll be doing all 5 of those. And it's always up to you what is right for your body and your mind today in this moment. And also, you know yourself best. So even if it feels good right now, if you know that it's something that's going to bother you tomorrow or the next day, if you know that information ahead of time, don't push too far. Yes. So work is okay, but pain, pinching, searing, burning, we don't want any of that. Okay. So when we get to the asana portions, you know what's right for you. And even if you skip half of that stuff, it's still only a few minutes out of the practice, and you'll still have a really nice, well-rounded practice. Okay, so even if you have to miss stuff, I will offer modifications and options throughout. Please just take what you'd like and leave the rest. It's like the cereal aisle at the supermarket. If you bought every box of cereal, that would be entirely too much cereal for anyone to consume. So they're all just choices, and you just take what you want off the shelf. Okay. Good. So with that being said, please check your surroundings. Make sure there's nothing sharp or pointy or dangerous around you, especially in your home. You might have a picture frame behind you if you're sitting near a wall. So just make sure that there's nothing sharp or pointy that's going to impede your safe practice. And if your chair has wheels, if you're able to lock them, please make sure they are locked. And if you have armrests, I'll talk through options of when to use them versus when to reach around them, and you'll just do your best with that. So we'll come into a comfortable seat, and if you can, knees hip bone distance apart. So knees and ankles are aligned with those hip bones. If you are in a wheelchair, sometimes the kind of basket seat of that makes the knees fall in towards each other. So you may have to physically help move the muscles, right? Literally move your muscles to help yourself find that spacing so that you can bring your feet as close to flat to the floor as possible. And then you can go ahead and rest back in your chair and let your gaze soften or even close your eyes. And as you withdraw your sense of sight and ease into your chair, you may naturally have already turned your attention to your breath. Oftentimes, what our nervous system needs, what our body needs, it already knows. We're just so busy doing other things that we don't hear those requests. So as soon as we kind of turn inwards, you may already have begun to deepen your breath, have begun to relax some places of tension in your body. But we'll help that along further by scanning and noticing. So check in with your forehead, the corners of your eyes, your cheeks, your jaw, your teeth, your tongue, and your lips. Are you holding any tension that you can let go of, that you don't need? And then perhaps in your inner ears, your throat, your shoulders, in your posture, even as you're relaxing into the back of the chair, is your head sort of craning forward a little bit? And if so, imagine that you could press the back of your head into a headrest or into a wall directly behind you without having to lift your chin up. So we're aligning the cervical spine, the neck, with the rest of our posture, instead of that kind of computer posture that we sometimes have. And so as you're resting here and easing tension out of your bones and your muscles that you notice, again, your gaze might be soft or eyes closed. Continue downwards to your chest, your shoulders, your arms, your elbows, your wrists, your hands, your belly, your back, your hips, your knees, your ankles, your feet. Is there anything that you could let go of or anything that you'd like to adjust? Even a 1% change for 1% more comfort and ease. Sometimes we can't be totally comfortable, but we can be a little bit closer to it. So give yourself permission to make those adjustments. And in keeping with that, if it's comfortable for you, you can bring your left hand towards your belly and your right hand towards your heart. Or if that's not comfy, you could put both hands on the belly or wherever you like. Start to sense the expansion of your breath into your hands and into your body. In other words, we're feeling the expansion and the release of our breath from the inside out and from the outside in. So you have the sensation of your hands in your front body, and you may have the sensation of your chair on your back body. And so you can really sense that your breath expands in all directions, front to back, side to side, top to bottom. It's not just to the chest. It's really a 4-dimensional experience. We want to do our best to extend our exhale longer than our inhale. And I'll tell you about it as you do it. But if you're counting your breath, if you like to count, you can count your breath. And if you're inhaling for about a count of 4, whatever that count of 4 is for you, whatever that pace is for you, could you exhale for maybe 5 or 6 or even 7 or 8? So see if you can work your way towards a longer exhale. Maybe this first breath, you're just getting it 4 and 4 equal. And then maybe the breath after that, you can inhale for 4 and exhale for 5. And then the breath after that, you can inhale for 4 and exhale for 6, and so on, until you find a place where it feels sustainable, not forced, to exhale for longer than you're inhaling. What you may find is that you have to take a big sweeping, almost forceful inhale, really pull it in to make it fill in that 4 count. And then a kind of metering or easing of the breath on the exhale to have it last as long as you intended. When we exhale for longer than we inhale, we're activating our parasympathetic nervous system. We're improving our vagal tone and our heart rate variability, which is a really fancy way to say that we are giving ourselves more grace and ease with all of the things in our life that challenge us, right? That triggering person or that triggering situation. The ups and downs of the human existence are more easily tolerated when we have a bigger heart rate variability, when we have better vagal tone, when we're able to access that parasympathetic nervous system. So everything else is really icing on the cake. This deep breathing where we're inhaling for about a 4, with an easy body, an easy face, and exhaling for about 6 or 7 or 8. That's the most beneficial thing you can do. And so we'll take one last breath in this really focused way. And I'll remind you from time to time as we practice to see if you can find it again. But on your next inhale, maybe you bring both hands towards your heart center. You can press palm over palm or palm against palm. We often call this heart center or Anjali Mudra if you hear a teacher say the Sanskrit term for it. But Anjali doesn't mean heart. It actually means unstruck. Unstruck in the sense that it is the pure, untouched place in our being. In other words, the piece of us that is never changing. The piece of us that is unaffected by exactly what we were just talking about, those highs and lows of everyday living. And a lot of times people will translate namaste or bringing hands to heart center as the light in me sees, honors, and recognizes the light in you. And what it really is that the place in me, which is unstruck, is the same as the place in you, which is unstruck. Right? So if we're being really wordy about it, we're all connected. So we'll take a breath of gratitude here for this shared safe space to practice together. We always do more together, even if it's on a screen, than we do alone. And then on your next inhale, if you haven't already, feel free to begin to flutter your eyes open, and we'll rub the hands together and create some heat in the palms. This is, now listen, I love coffee just as much as the next person, but if you don't have a cup around and you need to feel a little bit invigorated and renewed, this is a really lovely practice. So build a lot of heat. And then if you have glasses on, you'll have to make a big cup. And if no glasses, then you can make a flat cup. You're going to put those really nice hot hands over your eyes and feel the heat transfer, feel the heat connection. And then behind your hands, let your eyes be open. And then just sort of peel them away when you're ready, when the heat dissipates. Okay. So it's another little trick for your nervous system. It sort of sparks some of those same feel-good chemicals as when we first wake up in the morning and we see the light of day and we're renewed. Yeah, so a nice little trick. Try it again sometime. Good. So we'll begin with some easy neck circles. If you're resting back and that feels good, go for it. But if you'd like to, maybe sit up nice and tall on your own. And then we'll just start with a nod, yes, slow and steady to see how you're feeling with the shoulders broad, watching out for that computer neck that we sometimes get. And then once you've kind of sussed out that situation, we'll come to the center and we'll gently gaze side to side, turning the head side to side. Easy jaw, easy forehead, seeing if there's anything interesting that you find. And then coming to the center, we're going to tip ear to shoulder. Ear to shoulder. And we're just seeing how things are feeling before we go for that full circle. Sometimes when we go right in for that big neck circle right off the bat, there's a lot of crunching. And your neck is not exactly where you want to be making popcorn, so we go a little slower. Find the center. One more thing to do. You're going to look to your right shoulder, and I'm mirroring you if you're wondering why I'm looking over my left shoulder. So if you look at me, I look like a mirror. And then you're going to drop your chin down towards your collarbone and take a big breath. The deep breath can give a massage to any tension in the shoulder and the neck and the upper back and help to dissipate it. And then when you're ready, you can lift back up to that regular flat line, head over to the other side, and same thing, chin towards collarbone. Deep breath, easy jaw, let your tongue relax away from the roof of your mouth. Good. And then when you're ready, coming back into the center. So I want you to think of two different circles here, and one goes with one head movement that we just did, and one goes with the other. So one way that we can circle, and you can watch if you'd like, is chin down and then ear to shoulder, and maybe coming across the top if it feels comfortable, ear to the opposite shoulder, and coming around that way. Another circle that your neck can do is more like you're watching an airplane go by in the sky. So if you look down and then look over your shoulder, all the way over your shoulder, look over your shoulder, rather than ear to shoulder, look over your shoulder, and then watch that airplane go by, right, up and over the other shoulder and come around. So take the next 5 or 10 breaths to play with both kind of circles in both directions, because only you know what your neck is feeling like. So what do you need? What do you need and what's accessible? If you have a particularly sticky spot, maybe you don't circle, maybe you pause right there and breathe into it. If you need to do something to even out side to side, please do. And then when you're ready, come on back to the center. And we'll incorporate some easy shoulder circles to start. And if those are feeling good and you'd like a little bit more, you might bring your hands up to your shoulders and stir your elbows in some big circles. So that is going to increase the range of motion. And if you have any impingement, or rotator cuff issues, perhaps the plain shoulder circle is what you need, and the chicken dance is not the answer, and it's all good, right? Whichever one you need. But the next time you roll back, we'll leave it that way. So we've got this nice open chest, and we'll just spread the hands out down low by your sides. If you've got armrests on, see if you can take your hands on the outside. Feel your sits bones root down, rise up nice and tall. Maybe your feet can be flat and your toes can point forward. This is Tadasana, or mountain pose. Good. On an inhale, start to sweep the arms forwards. Palms can be up. And you might stop right at shoulder height, or if your shoulders are okay with it, you can keep on going as you reach upwards. Maybe even looking up to your hands, and then bringing hands through heart center, Anjali Mudra, right? That unstruck place we talked about, and back out to the sides. Good. So this is a sun breath. We're going to inhale and sweep the arms forwards or maybe upwards. And then we'll exhale, pass through heart center and take them out down by our sides. You're gonna listen to your shoulders and the range of motion that's right for you. One more time like that, inhaling, reaching up, and then exhaling, relaxing down and out. Watching out for your surroundings, making sure that it's actually okay to do. We're gonna go out to the sides now for 3 more. So see if you can reach out to the sides, maybe stopping there or maybe continuing up overhead, and then passing through heart center to mountain pose. Good, 2 more like that. And 1 more, inhaling to reach up. Pairing our breath with our movement, exhaling to come on down. Good. Now you choose either forwards or outwards to the sides. We're gonna inhale and reach up, whichever one you like. And then as you exhale and bring your hands towards heart center, if flexion at the hips are okay for you, we're gonna come forward and rest elbows on the thighs. If you've got arm rests and you'd prefer to stop there, you can rest on those arm rests. Let your head relax and take a deep breath into your back body. So your low back is allowed to expand and your belly is allowed to expand. So often we're trying to suck in. Let it be easy and soft, like a Buddha belly. You ever notice in all the statues of Buddha, he's always smiling and he has a nice soft tummy. Okay, so be like Buddha. Maybe a little smile and a nice soft tummy. Good. If you do have some issues in your spine, any pain there, you might bring your hands one at a time to your thighs to help you sit back up tall. And then we'll keep those hands on the thighs or on your armrests if you have them as we inhale and lift the chest, lift your gaze for a bit of a back bend or cow pose. And then exhale, tuck and round, relax. If you have upper cross syndrome, please skip this rounded spine, just come to a neutral. So we'll inhale and lift up to cow, and we'll exhale, relax, or even curve and tuck to cat. Good, couple more like that in your own breath pace. Maybe 1 more. Good. On your next inhale, we'll sit tall. Take your right hand down to the edge of your chair or to your armrest, and you're going to hold on to that. Take your left hand and your choice, either forwards or out to the side, whichever one felt like the better range of motion for your shoulder, which one let you reach higher. And then when you get to the top, inhale again, lift up even taller. And then as you exhale, relax into a bit of a side stretch. Let that right shoulder, though, drop away from your ear. So your arm, your elbow is kind of spongy, if you will. So we're still able to push down to lift open and sort of spin the heart up, but we're not having to shove into it. Good. If it feels okay for this nice outstretched left arm, it might feel nice to make a big circle like a pinwheel or a windmill. And this is renewable energy. And then maybe hand to your forehead or hand to the back of your head. Or if that shoulder says absolutely no thank you, hand to heart. Okay, so hand to heart a little easier, hand to forehead a little bit more sensation, hand to the back of the head, a lot of sensation. And then kind of tip back like your movie star posing. Take a big breath. We're getting some space into your pectoralis muscles, your chest muscles, and out into the front of your shoulder. Maybe looking down. Let your neck be easy. This is really about the chest and the side body. And then we'll take that stretch 1 more time into that big side body stretch, release, and come back to center. Before we do the other side, maybe even closing your eyes for it, feel the difference between the side that we've stretched and the side that we haven't. You actually, spoiler alert, don't need me to do that stretch. So if one side is feeling like 3 inches taller and that feels good to you, you can do that without me anytime. All right, left hand on the chair. Right hand reaching up overhead or forwards, whichever is going to work for you. Take a breath there, and then on your inhale, sit up even taller and start to ease into that side stretch. If that shoulder does not want the arm overhead, remember you can always go in front of you, just like we did before for those sun breaths. So that option remains. And then If you like the movement, especially if you like timing the movement with the breath, you might enjoy some big circles here. And it's okay to go clockwise or counterclockwise. Whichever feels better for you. And then choosing a place to rest your hand, maybe to your heart, maybe to your forehead, or even the back of your head. We're going to let ourselves kind of tip open, sunning towards the sky. You can look down. Checking in with your jaw, your tongue, your forehead, and your breath. Head back into that side stretch where you came from. And then easy back up into the center. Good. So now maybe you're 3 inches taller on both sides. That's good. Yeah, I mean, at least for me, I'm only 5'4", so I'll always take everything I can get. We'll do one more cow and cat to sort of reset after those intense side stretches, and we'll sit tall once more. Again, right hand to the edge of the chair or to your armrest. Inhale, sweep the left arm forwards or upwards, whichever one feels better for you. And we're not going sideways this time. This time we're taking a twist. So you're going to take that left hand and bring it to the outside of your right leg or even to the outside of the chair on that right side. Inhale, sit up even taller. And then as you exhale, maybe looking over, maybe wringing out like a wet washcloth, right? That's midsection. Watch out for rounding or reaching through your head and your neck. See if you can still keep some broadness to your collarbones. One more big breath. And then back into the center. Good. Holding on with that left hand to the edge of the chair or the armrest. Inhale, right arm is going to come forwards or upwards as you like. And then as you exhale, it'll reach to the outside of that left leg or the outside of the left side of your chair. Inhale, sit tall, and then exhale, maybe twist that way. And if you're ever on the right when I'm on the left, does it matter? No. It's really just so that you understand how the body is relating to itself. So if you wind up on the other side of what I'm doing, just reverse the rest of my words. It's no, never mind. And then we'll come back into the center. Again, maybe a cow and a cat as a sort of reset in the middle. Lovely. So what we've done there is the 6 movements of the spine, and those are excellent any time of day to keep some vitality and movement going there. So those 6 movements, again, they're all 2-sided movements. So really it's only 3 things that you have to think of. So it's the flexion and extension like cow and cat. That's 2 already. It's the twist, twist. That's 2 more. And it's the side, side. And that's the last 2. So that's the 6 movements of the spine, as we call it in yoga. Okay. So you can relax back into your chair and we'll extend the right leg forward. If you can, you might come all the way to a straight leg, but you don't have to, and we'll let it come down. So you're just doing the range of motion that's available to you here in that right leg. Your mind is a powerful tool. So even if the leg is not going through that range of motion, you might imagine that extension and that sensation. You might visualize this experience. I always mention this study, and so I apologize to those of you that I've told about it 1,000,001 times, but they rigged up some soccer players to sensors in their brain, and they asked them to imagine them kicking a soccer ball, and then they asked them to actually kick the soccer ball, and the brain looked almost identical to the point where the doctor couldn't tell the difference without being told which one was the kicking and which one was the imagining of the kicking. So your brain is a powerful muscle and you can use it. Good. Now we'll do the other leg. So we'll extend that left leg just through your range of motion, lubricating those joints. If you feel like the Tin Man, maybe you add a little more oil each time, and then you got to work that oil into the nooks and crannies, right? If you don't turn the engine over, the oil can't get everywhere. So we got to move through it, even if it's a little bit sticky, or like mine is right now, a little bit noisy. Good. All right, we'll head back to our first leg, our right leg. We'll send that out. And so this could be done down on the ground or it could be done in extension. Here, we're gonna point and flex that foot. If you're wearing shoes, you'll just do the best you can with what's available there. Or if you wanna kick them off, you're welcome to join me here in Sock Nation. I usually do yoga barefoot, but I always feel a little weird showing the bottoms of my feet on the screen. So I leave my socks on for virtual chair yoga. Good. The next time you flex that foot, keep it flexed and see if you can spread your toes out and then relax the toes. Spread the toes out and relax the toes. And now laugh at yourself because your right hand is doing it too. And relax your toes. The folks in class are agreeing with me in person here. I don't know if you guys at home are doing it because I can't see your hands. Most of you hands are off camera. Good. And then we'll let that go. Nice. Okay, we'll do the left leg. So wherever you can extend it to comfortably, and then we'll just do some pointing and flexing and making popcorn. Yeah, it's all good. Are you making kettle corn or movie butter? Movie butter. Chris is making movie butter popcorn. Okay, then we'll spread the toes out and relax. And spread the toes out and relax. And even though I said it on the other side, some of you have your left hands going without realizing it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay, right? It's just a thing that happens because we have such dexterity and mobility with the hands. We use them for everything. It's almost like we're teaching our foot how to do it, right? It's like the grown-up and the toddler. No, it's not bad. If your hands aren't moving, it's not a problem. It's just a funny thing I like to point out. And we'll let it go. Good. All right, one more time, we're gonna send that right leg out. And this time we'll be circling the ankle. If you can't circle comfortably, or if that makes a lot of popcorn, maybe just a little wag, like a tail. Could you kind of wag it side to side? So we're doing inversion and eversion of the ankle, or maybe a full circle is okay for you. Ankle mobility is super important to help prevent falls, especially if transfers are a place where that is a risk for you. So if you're transferring from chair to bed or chair to car or chair to seat for shower or lavatory use, having ankle mobility can be super helpful to prevent some falls. So just these really simple ankle circles. They seem so small, but they really are significant. Yeah, I've got some good popcorn. Good, and we'll let that go. Mine is also movie butter. Okay, other side. So again, you can just do eversion and inversion, right? Kind of like a wag of your foot, like it's a doggy tail, or you can circle. You can also try going the other way. If you want to get fancy with it, you could try writing your name in cursive. As long as you're an adult like me and you learned cursive when you were a child, I hear they're not doing that anymore. But you could try. I wonder how much longer until students in my classes are adults that did not learn cursive ever. Probably only a few years. Okay. And then we'll let that relax down. So if you like the challenge of strengthening the legs, you could do all of that on one side before you did the other side. You could keep that leg extended for all of those exercises all in a row. But since this is our first time back after a summer break, I wanted to keep it easy and give us shorter time spans there on each side. If you can comfortably scoot forward on your chair, and there aren't armrests in the way, go ahead and scoot all the way forward and then turn your right leg off to the side. Good. And then let your left leg slide forward. Excellent. And then we'll take our right elbow and rest it on the right thigh. Lovely. Take your left hand and bring it either to your heart or overhead. So this will harken back to that side stretch we did earlier. Right now, what we're doing is extended side angle. So feel yourself kind of press down into that elbow to lift open towards the sky. So as we're in this side stretch, we're also kind of opening up. So this is extended side ankle. We're about to do warrior. You're almost there. Okay, good. Then we'll rise up and take the arms out long. And now we're in warrior two. Yeah, so this is one version of a seated warrior. You can do it with the leg all the way out to the side. That can often be a lot on people's hips and low back. So I always like to start with something a little more mild for that hip. But can you keep that right leg out to the side, but orient your chest towards me or towards your screen? So the arms are long, and then we're just looking over the right fingertips without affecting that left arm, that back arm. Take a deep breath. So warrior, there are 3 warrior postures: warrior 1, warrior 2, and warrior 3. A warrior is a significant thing in our yoga practice because of the stories that go along with it. So we'll let that come on down. Then let your left leg ease in. And then if you need to help it, you can help that right leg come on in. And we'll do the other side. This is kind of its own opposite. So we'll take the left leg off to the side. And then that right leg might stretch forward, or if you know it and you like it and your body likes it, you could go for that more intense extension out to the side. Okay, so I'm going to leave that up to you. And then we'll take the left elbow down to the thigh. Right hand can come to your chest, or you can take that reach kind of over your temple. So not back by your ear where you start doing strange bird movements with your neck trying to get past your arm, right? Let it be right over your temple, and then press down into the elbow and tip your chest up. So warrior pose, I told you it's very significant in our yoga practice because of the stories that go along with it. The word warrior in Sanskrit is 2 separate words, Vira and Bhadra. So you'll hear sometimes yoga teachers say Virabhadrasana 1 or 2 or 3. Asana is just the word for posture. Vira and Bhadra. Virabhadra is warrior. Vira is hero, and Bhadra is friend. So the definition of a warrior in yoga is a heroic friend. In other words, we'll relax out of that. Let that leg come on in, and then maybe help it close. Someone who stands up for their community, right? A heroic friend, someone who is a part of the community and works for the greater good. So it's not necessarily a warrior like we think of like a soldier, although it can be if that's what's needed, right? If that's what's called for, then that's what's done. But it's also someone who just goes to work for each other, right? So there are a lot of stories of warriors in the mythology where the posture names have came from. So that's why there's so many warriors, if you're ever curious. If it's comfortable for you with your legs together here, you can lean down onto your elbows like so. So just resting your elbows on your thighs. If you'd like to feel a little bit more of that inside stretch, right, the inner thigh stretch, you could take your feet turned out to the sides, pointed out to the sides like you would for what's called goddess, and take your elbows down to your legs there. And take a big breath. Choosing the intensity that's right for you. And then maybe crawling one hand to the thigh and then the other to help yourself up, and the sitting right up is okay for you. If your legs are wide, you can keep them that way. We're going to inhale and reach the arms up and then bend the elbows out by our sides. So palms are broad here. Imagine that the wall was behind you. I'm going to turn sideways. Don't you turn sideways. I'm just turning so you can see my arm. If the wall was behind your arm, would you be like this? Or could you relax the shoulder and press the back of your wrist and the back of your hand all equally on that wall? So a lot of times what happens for us is we do this because we're trying to get the chest open, but really what we're doing is dumping into the back of the neck and lifting our chin up and sort of faking it here, yeah? So can you instead relax your chin down, relax the shoulders, elevate the elbows, and almost press your hands like the air is heavy, right? So that you get some strength behind that framework. So if I came over and tried to move your arm, it would move, but there'd be some maintenance of this shape. Yeah, and there's a bit of structure to it. I take one more nice big breath with that. Good. And then you can bring your hands down to the edges of your chair, or if you like, you can heel toe the feet towards each other. Or if you like more intense sensation, you can walk your hands all the way to the back of the chair. And then depending on how far forward you're sitting, as if that's feeling like enough of a stretch for your shoulders or not. And if it's not, you could even bend your elbows a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to turn my chair sideways just so that you can see what that looks like. And so if you're sitting pretty far forward, then that's already a pretty good stretch. But if you're sitting kind of closer to the chair, reaching back may not be enough. And so you might want to bend your elbows, and that's going to get this great chest stretch and front of the shoulder stretch, deltoid stretch. Taking that big breath. Very good. One more big breath there. I'm just going back to face you. And then ease out. And again, relaxing forward. If your feet are still wide, you can bring them back to the front this time. As you're easing forward, as long as it's not going to tip you out of your chair, it feels safe and comfortable to do so. If your low back and your spine are asking for a little bit more, you could fold all the way onto your thighs. Now, if you already ate some dinner, that's probably not a great idea. Even if your muscles want that stretch, your tummy might say, I'm kind of working here. Right? I'm not in the mood. So still breathing deeply. I'm not going to relax my head because it makes my voice sound really strange on the earphones, but you should relax your head, yeah? So you can let your head hang wherever you are. And then once again, you can use your hands, finding some purchase on your thighs or on the chair first, or you can sit up on your own accord. Option 1, cross your left leg in front of your right at the ankle. Option 2, cross the left thigh on top of the right, like sort of casual, like you're reading the paper. Option 3, and this is only going to be if it's truly comfortable and sustainable for you, is this half pigeon shape. You want to flex your foot, and it should be far enough over that you could do an ankle circle, right? So in other words, it's not your foot and your ankle that are on the thigh. It's hanging off far enough that you could do an ankle circle if you wanted to. Good. And then this may already feel like more than enough. Whatever of those 3 choices you've chosen, crossing at the ankle, crossing thigh over thigh, or crossing in this figure 4 shape, this half pigeon shape. But if you're not feeling much, you can add in a forward fold. So again, you may rest on your elbows, or you may just pitch forward an inch or 2. You may also be skipping this entirely. Yes, if your hip says, or if your doctor says, no. We'll take that answer, yeah. So we'll be here for 3 more deep, steady breaths. When you're ready, helping yourself to sit up tall. And again, this idea of the side stretch that we've been working with, we're going to revisit it here. Again, right hand to the chair, left hand is going to reach forwards or upwards as you like. Inhale, sit up even taller, and then take that little bit of a side stretch. And as you're taking this tip over to the right side, can you kind of press that left knee down a little bit on its own? And it may not go, right? But you're going to feel a bit more intense stretch through this whole side body. Some of us might feel it in the actual side of the hip. Some of us might feel it in the low back or in the side of the waist. We'll all feel it wherever it's tightest for us in our structure. See if you can almost like ragdoll for a second, sort of relax, sort of melt into the joints. And then on your next inhale, reinvigorate, root down, rise up, extend, broaden, breathe big. Good. And then come on back to the center. So we're just letting our nervous system know that we're intentionally stretching there, yeah? You can let that go. If it's comfortable for you to spin towards the right, you can take a counter stretch of letting your hip be far enough forward that you could actually slide this left leg back however far it wants to go. You can keep the knee bent, you can straighten the knee. We're just looking for the front of that thigh expansion. You might hear some ringing and noise on the loudspeaker here at Gaylord. They usually do an announcement shortly as well. So I just want to give warning that you may hear an announcement. And then we'll let that leg come on in and come back into the center. Feel the difference between those two sides, even if it was maybe, you know, a bit more work than what you were looking for. Do you actually feel taller in that section of your body, in the hip, as you sit tall? And if so, again, not to be a broken record, but you don't need me for that. You could do it when? Anytime. Okay, we'll cross the right ankle in front of the left. I love seeing you. Please come back. However, I want you to also feel well in between. Once a month yoga with me is not enough. So maybe at the ankle, maybe at the thigh, maybe in that figure 4. Our hips are one of the places where it's most obvious that we are not built the same from side to side, and we have not lived the same life on one side of our body versus the other. So you may make a different choice on this leg than you made on the other. Maybe on this leg you're crossing at the ankle, and on the other one you were at the hip, at the thigh rather. It's fine. Whatever is the right choice for this leg is what you should choose, regardless of what you chose on the other side. We can make some circles for your ankle to just make sure that the foot is far enough over if you've chosen this half pigeon shape. And then if you're already feeling enough, you can stay where you are. If you'd like more sensation, you can pitch forward a bit using your elbows to rest if you're far enough forward where it doesn't feel like a strain to do so. If it feels like you're really sort of trying to pull yourself up onto your elbows, we'll just use the hands, yeah? And scanning forehead, cheeks, jaw, tongue, shoulders, breath. One more full breath in your choice. And then helping yourself to sit up. Regardless of which cross you chose for the legs, we'll bring the left hand to the chair. We'll bring the right arm up high. And we'll take that side stretch. You can kind of lean back into the support of your chair. You can play with tipping that right knee down on its own. Check in with your low back. Are you sending your tailbone backwards or tucking it under? Can you find your neutral? And that might mean that you actually have to tuck it on purpose and extend it on purpose to find neutral if you're not sure. And then we'll relax that, we'll uncross. If it's available to you, you can turn in your chair to bring your left leg off to the side so that your right leg can come right in front of the chair and just sort of slide back, bent knee or straight knee, getting that hip crease open. And because I know at least one person has realized my mistake, which we're all entitled to, we didn't do warrior 2 on this side. So while we're here, we're gonna do it. So go ahead and find the extension that feels right for you with that right leg. If you wanna do it like we did before, it can just be in front of the chair and take those arms out wide for our warrior 2, yeah? Good. We didn't do it exactly the same on both sides. And so I wanna fix that. So you can look back at that back arm, at that left arm, and just see where it is, or at that right arm rather, and see where it is. Is it where you imagined it to be? Is the palm doing something weird? If it's doing something weird because it needs to, it's okay to rest your hand on your hip instead of forcing it, right? It should feel buoyant, like it's floating on water. So if it feels painful, it's okay to take it down. And then we'll relax that in. All right, and coming back into the center. Nice. All right, one more cow and cat. And kind of wiggling, moving the hips a bit side to side, perhaps moving the shoulders, maybe taking another circle for your head and neck, whatever you need. Feeling through perhaps wrists, hands, ankles. We didn't do too much for the hands today, so if you want to even just kind of spread and squeeze, we did that nice warming moment there, but we didn't do finger specific yoga today. Good. And then we'll relax. Now, if you're at home and there's a bed or a floor or a sofa that you'd rather lay on for our guided rest, you're welcome to do so. It's a bit hard and bright in here in the gym to do so, but if that doesn't bother you, you're welcome to lay down as well. Or you can stay in your chair. If your feet are out in front of you, and your chair is too tall for you, sometimes you actually start to slide, which is uncomfortable. So it may seem counterintuitive, but it may actually be more relaxing to really get your tushy all the way back in your chair and get your feet underneath you so you don't start sliding, so that you can actually relax in place from the waist up. Yes. So find what feels easy and doable for you. If there's any last movement or stretch or piece of clothing that you want to put on, go for it. And then when you're ready, you can soften your gaze or even close your eyes. Relax your jaw, your teeth, your tongue, your lips. Let your shoulders ride your breath, inhaling and exhaling and settling. Let any thoughts that might be distracting you or sailing by in your mind like clouds in the sky to also ride that breath. Right, to exhale and let them go. And you might need to repeat that with each breath, with each thought. But the invitation is to let the breath itself be the thought. Can you focus your mind on the breath itself? If it helps to have a script or words so that other words and thoughts don't take the place of that breath, you could say to yourself in your mind, inhale, navel rising, exhale, navel falling. Inhale, navel rising. Exhale, navel falling. As you're resting here with a soft gaze or even closed eyes, I'll keep mine open. And I'll talk you through some awarenesses. These are mental awarenesses, even though I'm naming physical places in your body. So that is to say, even if there isn't sensation for you there, if there's neuropathy or any other reason why we may not have the physical sensation there, this is really for the mind's eye. So I'm going to talk you through points in your body. And the idea is that you'll just notice them in your mind's eye. You can do it as just that, just noticing. Or you can imagine it as moving light or color or heat through these points in your body. It's up to you in your imagination. So take one more breath to settle in, and then feel the support of the ground beneath your feet. Feel your feet supported. Notice the tops of your feet and your ankles. Notice your calves and your shins. Notice your knees. Notice your thighs. Notice your hips and your seat. Notice your low back, the sides of your waist, your low belly. Notice your natural waist all the way around, right where the waistband of your pants is. Notice the bottom of your ribs, like your solar plexus, those floating ribs wrapping. Here's the announcement. Always in the most relaxing moment. And noticing the middle of your back, kind of that kidney band. Notice your chest, sides of your ribs into your armpits, and your mid to upper back. Notice your upper arms, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, the back of your hands, your palms, your fingers, your fingertips, your shoulders, your shoulder blades, your collarbones, your neck on all sides, the back of your head, sides of your head, and ears. Notice your jaw and chin, your lips, teeth, tongue, your cheeks, your nose, your eyes, your eyebrows, your temples, your forehead, and the crown of your head. And now all at once, notice your whole body together. Your whole body together. Your whole body together. We'll rest here in this easy whole body awareness for a few breaths of quiet, and I'll call you back with the sound of my voice when it's time. You can keep your eyes soft or closed as you like. Maybe just bring a wiggle to fingers and toes, or even a circle to the ankles and wrists. Maybe some movement to your jaw or even to your head. A yes, a no, a circle. And then just kind of tipping side to side, ear to shoulder. And when you're ready to, whichever way feels best for you, we'll inhale and bring some movement to the arms, reaching outwards or forwards, maybe all the way up. Drawing hands to heart center. Taking a breath in gratitude to each other for this shared space. We always do more together. And then a moment of gratitude to anybody that helped you be here in class tonight. Maybe that's somebody that introduced you to yoga your very first time years ago or this morning. Maybe it's someone that's taking care of a responsibility of yours so that you could have this time to yourself. Maybe it's to the person that captured the internet so that we could be together. Any person that you'd like to hold in your mind as you take one more breath of gratitude. And I thank you for sharing and trusting your practice with me. If you have any questions, I'll stay here for a few minutes. We'll end the recording and I'll give some time for questions, or you can always email me any questions, Rebecca, REBECCA @veteransyogaproject.org. And I think Katie might have some announcements.
I do, just a few. Just reminders on when the next class is. A thank you to Rebecca and everybody else. And just a reminder, these are like once a month classes. So next will be Thursday, November 9th. So roughly 3 weeks from now, 6 to 7, once again, in person or virtual. So if anybody wants to switch from virtual to in person, just let us know. And any other questions before we sign off? All right. If not, everybody have a very nice night.
Thank you.
Good night.